What a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. For success, attitude is equally as important as ability. Look back and smile on perils past. 1 hour of life, crowded to the full with glorious action and filled with noble risks, is worth whole years of those mean observances of paltry decorum, in which men steal through existence, like sluggish waters through a marsh, without either honour or observation. Tears are the softening showers which cause the seed of heaven to spring up in the human heart. Vacant heart and hand, and eyen, easy live and quiet die, woman's faith and woman's trust. Write the characters in dust. Adversity is, to me at least, a tonic and a bracer. Every hour has its end. Without courage there cannot be truth, and without truth there can be no other virtue for success. Attitude is equally as important as ability. The willow which bends to the tempest often escapes better than the oak which resists it. A rusty nail placed near a faithful compass will sway it from the truth and wreck the argosy of all vices. Drinking is the most incompatible with greatness, success keeping your mind awake and your desire asleep. He that climbs the tall tree has won right to the fruit. He that leaps the wide gulf should prevail in his suit. Many miles away, there's a shadow on the door of a cottage on the shore of a dark Scottish lake. We build statues out of snow, and weep to see them melt. Discretion is the perfection of reso. A lawyer without history or literature is a mechanic, a mere working mason. If he possesses some knowledge of these, he may venture to call himself an architect. To the timid and hesitating everything is impossible because it seems so. If a farmer fills his barn with grain, he gets mice. If he leaves it empty, he gets actors. We build statues out of snow, and weep to see them melt. Discretion is the perfection of reason, and a guide to us in all the duties of life. Oh, many a shaft at random sent finds Mark the archer little meant, and many a word at random spoken may soothe or wound a heart that's broken. Many miles away, there's a shadow on the door of a cottage on the shore of a dark Scottish lake. Oh, many a shaft at random sent finds Mark the archer little meant, and many a word at random spoken may soothe or wound a heart that's broken. It is wonderful what strength of purpose and boldness and energy of will are roused by the assurance that we are doing our duty. What I have to say is far more important than how long my eyelashes are. Each age has deemed the newborn year the fittest time for festal cheer. What is a diary as a rule? A document useful to the person who keeps it, dull to the contemporary who reads it, and invaluable to the student, centuries afterwards, who treasures it. The race of mankind would perish did they cease to aid each other. We cannot exist without mutual help. All therefore that need aid have a right to ask it from their fellow men, and no one who has the power of granting can refuse it without guilt. The half hour between waking and rising has all my life proved propitious to any task which was exercising my invention. It was always when I first opened my eyes that the desired ideas thronged upon me. Love rules the court, the camp, the grove, and men below, and saints above. For love is heaven, and heaven is love. Teach your children poetry. It opens the mind, lends grace to wisdom, and makes the heroic virtues hereditary. Unless a tree has borne blossoms in spring, you will vainly look for fruit on it in autumn. There is a vulgar incredulity, which in historical matters, as well as in those of religion, finds it easier to doubt than to examine. How pleasant it is for a father to sit at his child's board. It is like an aged man reclining under the shadow of an oak which he has planted. He is the best sailor who can steer within fewest points of the wind, and exact a motive power out of the greatest obstacles. To be ambitious of true honour, of the true glory and perfection of our natures, is the very principle and incentive of virtue. If you once turn on your side after the hour at which you ought to rise, it is all over. Bolt up at once, when thinking about companions gone, we feel ourselves doubly alone. I envy thee not thy faith, which is ever in thy mouth, but never in thy heart, nor when thy practiseth misery of keeping a dog is his dying so soon. But to be sure, if he lived for 50 years and then died, what would become of me? Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Silence, maiden. Thy tongue outruns thy discretion. Each age has deemed the new-born year the fittest time for festal cheer. Is death the last sleep? No, it is the last and final awakening. Fight on, brave knights. Man dies, but glory lives. Fight on. Death is better than defeat. Fight on, brave knights, for bright eyes behold your deeds. Cats are a mysterious kind of folk, for he that does good, having the unlimited power to do evil, deserves praise not only for the good which he performs, but for the evil which he forbears. Many a law, many a commandment have I broken, but my word never. Love will subsist on wonderfully little hope, but not altogether without it. Heap on more wood. The wind is chill, but let it whistle as it will, we'll keep our Christmas very still. It was woman that taught me cruelty, and on woman therefore I have exercised mighty in the name of God, said Gurth. How came they prisoners, and to whom? Our master was too ready to fight, said the jester, and Athelstane was not ready enough, and no other person was ready at all. 1 hour of life, crowded to the full with glorious action, and filled with noble risks, is worth whole years of those mean observances of paltry decorum, in which men steal through existence, like sluggish waters through a marsh, without either honour or observation. A lawyer without history or literature is a mechanic, a mere working mason. If he possesses some knowledge of these, he may venture to call himself an architect. Own crowded hour of glorious life is worth an age without a name. I will tear this folly from my heart, though every fibre bleed, as I rend it away once. Sustain for the sake of conscience, carry their own bosom with the blow. Will future ages believe that such stupid bigotry ever existed? I have sometimes thought of the final cause of dogs having such short lives, and I am quite satisfied it is in compassion to the human race. For if we suffer so much in losing a dog after an acquaintance of 10 or 12 years, what would it be if they were to live double that time? Chivalry! Why, maiden, she is the nurse of pure and high affection, the stay of the oppressed, the redresser of grievances, the curb of the power of the tyrant. Nobility were but an empty name without her, and liberty finds the best protection in her lance and her sword. The wretch, concentered all in self, living, shall forfeit fair renown, and, doubly dying, shall go down to the vile dust, from whence he sprung, unwept, unhonoured, and unsung. Have heard men talk about the blessings of freedom. He said to himself, but I wish any wise man would teach me what use to make of it now that I have it.